If you ever plan on borrowing money to buy a house, you're probably interested in how to compute the total cost of the house, meaning principal plus interest, and how to minimize the cost. There are three variables that go into computing the total cost of a house. There's the interest rate, there's the principal, which is the amount that you borrow, and then there are the number of payments or the length of the mortgage. The most difficult to control is the interest rate. To reduce your interest rate, you have to increase your credit score, and that's difficult to do. The next most difficult is the principal, or the amount that you borrow. Ideally, you want your principal to be low. You don't want to borrow too much money. That requires that you save and be patient so that you can put a bigger down payment. But the easiest thing you can do is reduce the number of payments. 30-year mortgages are popular, but they're not very good. 15-year mortgages are better. The shorter the mortgage, the better. A lot of people think that if the mortgage gets cut in half from 30 years to 15 years, that means your monthly payments will double. That's not true, because you have 15 years less of accumulated interest, so you're not paying the same amount in 15 years. You're not paying the same cost in half the time. You're paying less the cost in half the time, so your payments don't double. So the best thing you could do is reduce the number of payments, reduce the length of the mortgage. There are 10-year mortgages, there are 5-year mortgages. They do exist. I highly recommend those. When it comes to principal or down payment, sometimes you'll see people have 5% down payments. Sometimes you'll see 0% down payments. They don't put any down payment. That's not a good thing. That's a bad thing. That requires that you borrow more money. So don't ever put 0 or 5% down payment. A lot of people say 20% is good. I don't think that's good enough. I think everybody should strive for 50% down payment. So I have the formula here, the amortization formula to compute the total cost of a house, which includes principal plus interest. So if you want to try it out for yourself, feel free. Thank you. One last thing. If the amortization formula looks confusing, I understand. There's some sophisticated algebra involved. Just remember that all of that goes away if you don't borrow any money. If the principal is 0, you can see is 0 times everything. So 0 times anything is 0. So if you don't borrow any money, all of that goes away, and there's no more confusion. There's no interest if you don't borrow any money. So ideally, nobody should ever be borrowing money.